This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. It's common sense for your dollars and cents here on The Ramsey Show. We're glad you're with us, America. Thank you for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Starting this hour off, Sacramento, California. Scott's with us. Hey, Scott, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Better than I deserve, man. What's up?
All right. So I'm a teacher, and the way the pay works is that the more post-bachelor degree units that you have, the higher your pay is. So when you reach a certain threshold, you'll move over on the pay scale to the right, and the further over to the right, the more money you make. So I'm trying to figure out if it makes sense to pursue a master's degree to get more post-bachelor degree units, or if I should do professional development seminars, which can give you units, but I'm not sure if it's worth doing 97 professional development seminars and paying for those units that route.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can look at it several different ways. One way you would look at it, and it sounds like the way you're asking the question, is simply this. What does it cost to increase the boxes that you can check to the right? And then how much money do you get, increased income, due to that cost? So it's the cost versus the benefit analysis, right? So you spend $1,000 on either of these, whether it's pursuing the master's or the professional development, and your income goes up X, right? So is it worth it? Yeah, it needs to go up, and you get it every year with the income. You only spend the $1,000 once in either case, so that's good. The other thing that you can add to that is a collection of personal development seminars. Really just gives you that collection. You do get all the knowledge from them. If, however, you did a collection that led to a master's degree, you do come out of that with a master's degree, which is a nice extra benefit to have that. So I'm probably going that route if the costs are similar.
Okay, yeah. And from what I can gather, the cost for the master's is anywhere from 3 to 5x of what it takes to do the professional development, and the professional development, it might be a 3-day seminar, so the commitment is far less.
Yeah, but what's the return?
Right. And it seems to me that it costs maybe $100 to $200 per unit, if you will, on the professional development, where it costs around, from what I can gather, about $500 per unit if you're doing a master's program. Okay,
and then how much do they pay you, increase your pay for a unit?
So it's in increments of 15 units. So if I did the master's, it would bump me over 2 whole columns, and that would be about a $5,000 per year pay increase.
Okay, and the master's degree would cost what?
About $15,000.
Okay, so in 3 years you break even, and the personal development would cost you, it sounds like, about $5,000.
Right.
For the same amount of column movement. Did I do that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so one's 3 times more than the other. Both of them increase you so you can spend $5,000. Can you do both? Doesn't do any good because there's only so many columns.
Yeah, right. There's 5 columns, I think.
Yeah, if you did both, it doesn't. Column. Yeah, if you did both, it doesn't keep moving you along. So you wouldn't get a return.
Right. You max out at a certain number of units, and then it's just you can't go any further over.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, just purely on the dollars, you would do the professional development, right? 5,000 gets you 15,000, or 5,000 gets you 5,000 a year, or 15,000 gets you 5,000 a year, right? Did I do that right?
Yes. Uh huh.
Yeah. Now, you're paying $10,000 for the privilege of having a master's. That does not increase your income. If
Yeah,
if
that's
I'm
right.
understanding your scenario right, that's now of course the value then is, do you want to have a master's, and do you want to spend an extra $10,000 in order to have that, because that might have uses other times in your life to have that under your belt versus 67 professional development. One other question that's a little bit when you finish the same number of units of professional development versus the master's, have you increased your knowledge base more with the master's that gives you more job satisfaction? You're better at your job when you go to the master's, or is it about the same? Or are the professional development actually better because they're more practical?
If I had to guess, I'm going to say that the professional development would be a better increase in knowledge because there are so many different options, whereas a master's, you're more singularly focused.
Okay. Is there any other reason you should do a master's then? Because you got better knowledge and less money spent on the professional development side. I'm just walking through this with you. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just helping you with the critical thinking path, okay? And so the only thing I hear you're getting for that extra 10 grand is substandard knowledge and a master's degree.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it gives me anything other than the master's degree title, unless I wanted to pivot later in my career, but I don't see myself wanting to stop teaching. I don't want to move into administration. That sounds
well. If you did choose that, you can always go back and work on the master's later. But in the meantime, I'm going to jump on 5K for 5K, and let's get this professional development stuff under your belt. Get the increased knowledge, the increased joy of teaching because you're better at it, and you can always go back and do the master's later, and you may have a different direction with your master's if you're doing that, because you might be aiming at administration if you chose to make that shift in your track. That's just me thinking through it with you, dude. I'm not an expert on education in terms of your field or anything like that. I'm just looking at the return on investment and what's the quality of what I'm buying, and I'm just thinking through it. And what that does is it puts all the mystery of, a master's degree, and it basically tells you, doesn't mean crap. That's what it tells you. After we cut through all of it, that's what it came down to. So, good question. That's interesting. Thanks for letting me walk through that with you. Open phones this hour. Common sense is here, and common sense is so rare in America today that it's like having a superpower. So we're glad you're with us. The phone number, 888-825-5225. If you've not seen the new documentary by Ramsey Networks, Borrowed Future, you need to download it and watch it tonight. You can rent it at Amazon Prime. You can rent it at Google. You can rent it at Apple TV. Lots of places. You can rent it at borrowedfuture.com if you want. It's like any other doc. It's about $3 or $4 or whatever to rent it for the night. Watch it. And, it makes you think about things like this master's degree discussion. It makes you think about this higher ed discussion. I am not against four-year degrees. I'm not against higher education. I am against people spending $200,000 at some famous college in order to get a job making $38,000. That's straight up stupid. If you're not using Pure Talk for your wireless, you're paying too much. Pure Talk gives you the same great 5G coverage on the same 5G network as one of the big guys for half the cost. The average family saves over $800 a year. Go to puretalk.com and choose the affordable plan that's right for you. With their 30-day risk-free guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Hey guys, I got interesting news for you. This year, Christmas is in December. They don't move it. It's always there. You got 45 days. Ready, set, go. Yeah, right. I hear you. I'm always ready for Christmas because I just love Christmas. I love celebrations, any excuse to have a party, any excuse to be generous. I love Christmas. Christmas was my chance to be off the charts crazy, generous, and no one looks at me like I've lost my mind. Well, fewer of them anyway. Plenty of people look at me like I've lost my mind all the time. That's part of my job. Every year we celebrate Christmas with our Ramsey Show listeners with an awesome tradition, our Ramsey Christmas Cash Giveaway. This year we're giving away $500 every week and a grand prize of 5,000 buckaroos. You can enter every day to increase your chances of winning. Just text CASH to 33789. CASH to 33789. We know you got some giving to do for your Christmas, so in honor of Singles Day. It's Singles Day? What does that mean? It's Veterans Day. My team is putting everything on sale today. Go ahead, get your Christmas gift shopping done while our best sellers are up to 73% off. We have gifts for him, gifts for her, gifts for kids of all ages. But this is a one-day sale. Don't wait to get started. This year, you can forget one-time use presents and grab a lifetime of hope. Buy the $10 books that are on sale, and that's almost all of our books are on sale for $10 at RamseySolutions.com. Happy Veterans Day, by the way. We want to honor all of our veterans around they're serving and have served, rather. Thank you. Because of people like you, I get to sit here and run my mouth for a living. So, and it's actually legal still at this point because of people like you. So, there you go. Thank you. Thank you for your service, all of you. Some of you have paid a price with your minds and your bodies and your relationships and everything else in order to keep this country free. So thank you. We appreciate you. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com, a great American company. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Sharon and I have used this company. We love them. They're great people. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run all the time, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey. Today's question comes from Dave in Oklahoma. I'm 72 and have a net worth of over $2 million. Way to go! My wife and I gave our children who decided to attend college a family scholarship. They were responsible for paying whatever the scholarship didn't cover. To qualify for the scholarship, they had to get good grades and attend church regularly. They all graduated college using this system. My first grandchild will start college next year, so I offer the same deal to her. I got an email from her father saying she was furious that I was trying to force her to attend church, which she already does voluntarily, and that she might quit attending church over it. Other family members think I should have given her the money with no strings attached. Was it inappropriate for me to have some provisions around the scholarship that require grades and religious attendance? I think your granddaughter's a freaking brat. She's furious because you offered her free money and she didn't like the terms? Well, call the wambulance. Dave, this is your money. You could have asked her to stand on her head for 30 minutes in order to get it. And she has no right to be furious. She can just say, I decline your kind offer because I don't like the terms. But you don't have to be a furious little brat. So, offer withdrawn. And family members that don't like it can kiss my butt. If they get some money, they get to do with their money what they want to do with their money. But it's your job to manage this money. And you didn't do anything wrong. You have a solid value system. You're a good man. You're kind. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't make a big deal out of it. She wasn't worshiping Satan and you tried to get her to quit. She was already attending church. Well, smack me silly. Oh, my gosh. Sounds like she needs to spend some more time over there to me. Oh, my goodness. No, dude, you're just being nicer than I would have been. I would have just said, okay, kiddo, we'll take you off that list and a couple of others until you grow up and decide to be respectful, you little twit. So, there you go. See, I'm kind of old school that way. I just, your money, you decide. I don't have a right to be offended if you don't want to put your money on something I want you to. Isn't that weird? That's just, people are just so entitled. See, entitlement is a form of arrogance. And that's what you're dealing with here. Bless her little heart, which is Southern for, yeah, whatever. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Todd is with us in Denver, Colorado. Hey, Todd, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today, Dave?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Fantastic. Thanks for taking my call. My wife and I started getting very serious about having no debt probably about 2 years ago,
Cool.
And that includes our mortgage.
Good.
We're in baby step 6 right now. We have about $700,000 remaining on our mortgage. And my question is really about the 3 to 6 months emergency fund. We've started some sinking funds to kind of cover things like, house payments house maintenance, or like once a year type payments that come up, once a year that are due.
Good.
And so we got those kind of ready for that. And so we feel like we can cash flow most kind of emergency things, but we also have this capital account at her place where she works. And the firm takes a fair amount of capital every paycheck, and at this point, I think it has about $250,000 in it. And the only way you get that is if you quit or you're fired, and then they pay that back to you when you're quit. So the question I have is, could we keep a smaller emergency fund since we have these sinking funds and the capital funds there, just so we can get more intense with paying the mortgage off faster?
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
Right.
Are both your jobs stable?
100%, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't get lower than 3 months, but we always say 3 to 6 months. On the 6 month side, if there's more risk in your house, what you're describing is there's less risk in your house. So 3 months would be fine if you want to.
Because currently, unless you were to tap into some of those sinking funds, we don't have that 3 months emergency fund. It sounds crazy at our income level.
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I'd have 3 months. I've never met anybody in 30 years of doing this to say, I hated having an emergency fund when stuff came up.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody that did that. And that little bit of difference is not going to offset your $700,000 on this mortgage that much anyway. So no, I would not be below 3 months. But in the 3 to 6 month range, you could land on the 3 comfortably because you've adjusted for risk off the other side of things. Now, here's the other thing that happens that's to your credit to go to the 3 month side is that as you get into baby steps 4, 5, 6, your life, when you're broke, your life looks like a country song. Everything that can go wrong will. Murphy shows up every morning and kicks the tires, right? And when you're not broke, you have better stuff, and so it doesn't break as much. And you're taking better care of yourself so you don't break as much. And, usually, you should anyway. And so what ends up happening is as you reach a level of wealth and you start moving through 4, 5, 6, 7 on the baby steps, you tend to have fewer emergencies. You really do. And we always joke and say it's because the emergency fund is there and the emergencies are scared. But they're not. They're not scared. There's just fewer of them. I mean, because when you're driving a piece of crap car, it's just more likely to blow up than a good car is. And you move up, you got a little better car, right? You're keeping better tires on the car. You're keeping the maintenance up on the car, so it's not going to bust as often, right? And when it busts, it's not as big. And so, your roof, you don't wait till it leaks before you put a new roof on. You're doing normal maintenance because you have a level of prosperity. And so your number of emergencies goes down as wealth increases. And as you walk along this. So that leans you towards that 3 month side too. But I wouldn't go below the 3 month. Doesn't serve any purpose here. This is the Ramsey Show. What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Heath is with us. Hey, Heath, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Better than I deserve. Welcome. Where do you live?
Biddeford, Maine.
Biddeford, Maine.
Yeah, Biddeford, yeah.
What's that near?
Portland, 25, 30 minutes from Portland.
Yeah, I love Portland.
Yeah.
Great town. Been there a bunch of times. Love it, man. Well, welcome all the way down to Tennessee to do a debt-free scream. How much have you paid off?
$21,000.
All right. How long did that take you?
12 months.
Good for you. And your range of income during that time?
45 to 60.
Cool. What do you do for a living?
I work crisis intervention, so people that are struggling with mental health, depression, anxiety.
Kind of busy right now.
Very, very busy. Very busy.
Yeah, it's been a hard time for folk out there.
It's a tough field, and people are struggling. A lot of people are struggling, and but people need help, and that's what I'm there for.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're there.
Thank
Very
you.
cool. Good for you. So, what kind of debt was this? $21,000.
Yeah, I paid off a Jeep. I
Right.
had a family loan that I used to pay off a high interest credit card.
Mm-hmm.
My Pepe gave me that, and then I paid off a cell phone.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So just kind of normal.
Pretty normal, yeah.
Yeah. And you just looked up. How old are you?
30. I turned 30 in June.
Ah, cool. So you look up and you said 21 months ago, something's got to change. How did you get connected to the Ramsey process?
Yeah, great question. My best friend Ben was telling me about him and his wife doing the Dave Ramsey plan, and pre-COVID, we went out to a restaurant. I told him all my debt, pretty open, honest conversation, and we realized I was pretty much house poor. I had some debt, I had some bills. I was a hard worker, but I was paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
So he gave me your book. He mentioned your podcast. I read the book, great book, but I didn't really start it that right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the pandemic hitting in Maine around March, the podcast saved my life.
Wow.
I binge watched the podcast from the first episode to the most current one, and it just opened up my eyes. And I read your book again,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how that process started. Truly, the podcast, it was life-saving.
Wow.
The calls that came in, truly opened up my eyes.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to listen to this stuff over and over and not eventually go try it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I said, I'm a single guy. I can't do it myself. But there was calls that came in, and I wanted to prove the haters wrong. I wanted to be like that guy that could do it.
Yeah.
So I listened to your podcast. I picked up a side gig. I did DoorDash for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then I actually worked at a COVID shelter in Maine, like COVID positive, like new Mainers or homeless people struggling with the COVID. So I worked there, opened it up, and I made an extra like $1,500 a month.
Wow.
I did that for 5 months. It was tough. I was pretty much quarantined in my house. But it opened up my eyes. I wanted to just do it and get it paid off.
Yeah.
And I looked at the debt and I was like, I can't do it, but I slowly did it. I paid off, the smallest to the largest, and it just worked.
Wow. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done. So who was cheering you on? Who were your biggest cheerleaders?
Well, my friend Ben and his lovely wife Kendra.
And they came with you all the way to Tennessee to do the debt-free screen.
Yeah, we flew here. Didn't drive.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, so they did. I talked to him every day. He called me, I called him every morning. At first it was difficult, single, no one there in the house, but also made it kind of, easier because I didn't have to worry about anyone else spending money. I think the hardest part was me eating out. The budget was, I got on the Every Dollar app.
Mm-hmm.
When I did that 2 weeks free of financial peace. So that helped out. So they helped me. I talked to him every morning. My neighbors Justin and Debbie and their 2 kids, they helped me. They gave me free food. I babysat a little bit. We had fires outside. We did a lot of hiking. I think you'll see the pictures on YouTube. Picture of us hiking. So it was just great, and I wanted to change my family tree and my legacy, and I think that's the biggest part of this. Like I grew up in foster care. My parents gave me up when I was 4 years old, and I got blessed with a great Christian, foster family. I didn't hear about you or anything, but I mean, I was raised well. And when I was 17, I actually went back with my biological parents and for a year, and it really, they stole money from me, and it was bad. And I had to go to court and whatnot, and I could go back to my foster family, but I never wanted to change my last name because I wanted to be the first with my last name to succeed and go to college, and do something right.
And you have.
And I have.
Way to go, hero.
Thank you.
Way to go, man. I'm proud of you. Very, very cool. All right, so when people ask you, how does a single guy making 45 to 60 pay off $21,000 in 12 months? What do you tell them the key is to getting out of debt?
Have a goal and trust the process and rely on people if you're struggling.
Yeah.
You're going to have bad days. You're going to struggle. You're going to be like, I can't do this. That's when you call. I called Ben. I reached out to my neighbor. I called people. And some people were like, you should be investing. You should be doing this. But I listened to the podcast. I didn't care what anyone else was saying. It's my life. I wanted to change it.
Right.
And I wanted to be debt free. No more stress in the world. And I just wanted to live my life.
How's it feel now that you're there?
It's amazing. It's changed my life. And all my actions have changed, and I'll never use a credit card. I'll never get a loan. I'm gonna fall. I listen to the podcast every single day, and it's just it's truly inspiring. And I want someone listening right now that's single and that's drowned in debt, or they can't do it, they don't think they can do it. You can do it. And saying that, mental health wise, people are struggling.
Yeah.
Depression, anxiety with the bills, and it's okay.
Well, they got a lot of open loops in their life. They don't have closure on anything.
Exactly,
that'll blows your mind. The anxiety gets really heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. You've consumed so stinking much of this podcast in a short period of time. Did it feel weird to walk in the lobby and see all this stuff?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be bigger and stuff, but it's great. Yeah.
Bigger than this?
I know. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. But and then I was like, does he look intimidating? I don't know what's going on. So I bring you up in every conversation. It's oh, Dave, and he's like, is that an uncle or something?
Who's this Dave guy?
Yeah, who's this weird Dave guy?
I love it. He is that.
But I walked in, and it's I was chatting with the lady getting coffee, and super nice people, and I listened to your other podcast, John Deloney.
Yeah.
I work in crisis, and it's truly inspiring.
Yeah.
And I will say this before I do my debt-free stream. If you are struggling, please reach out to your statewide crisis hotline.
Yeah.
Especially
Amen.
being a Veterans Day for all those served.
Amen.
Please reach out for help.
Amen.
Because, it's okay to not be okay, and it's important to reach out. Everybody's
not okay. And sometimes we really need a place to not be okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Well done, brother. Well done. I'm proud of you, man. We got a copy of The Legacy Journey for you. That's the next chapter in your story to be a baby steps millionaire now. And a total money makeover book for you to give away and pay it forward. You'll be Ben to somebody else.
Yes.
You'll be in a restaurant someday showing somebody how their house poor and working them through it. And like Ben did for you. You got to have good friends like that. Well done, Ben. All right, good stuff. Heath from the Portland, Maine area, $21,000 paid off in 12 months, making 45 to 60. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. I'm debt-free!
This is how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you do it. Wow. Hey, when you decide to take control of areas of your life, money being one of them, That's how you change your life. Be not conformed to this world. Be transformed. How? By the renewing of your mind. Well done, sir. Very well done. This is The Ramsey Show. Thanks for joining us, America. We're glad you are here. John is with us in Orlando. Hey, John, how are you?
Hi, how you doing?
Great, man. Better than I deserve. What's up?
I'm going to be with my brother. We're going to buy a furniture business that my brother works at. The guy that owns it wants to retire, and he pretty much just wants to sell it for what he has in inventory. But he wants a down payment on the inventory of $75,000, which I was going to pay that aspect, and me and my brother were going to be partners in this business. But my problem is I'm trying to figure out what the best way to get my $75,000 back, but we're also still partners. So I wasn't quite sure if I should put it on a payment plan or if I should pay what would be the best way to take that investment back? Because my brother's kind of bringing in the sweat equity, and he's going to be running the business the majority of the time. But I just don't know how to go about it, and I wanted to talk with you about it.
So you're an absentee investor of $75,000 into the business. He's putting nothing in it, and he's going to run it.
Yeah, I would say I'm not total absentee because I'll be helping with, the purchasing and doing a lot of the books and handling on that end. And so I don't know if I'll be totally absent, but I think it would probably be safe as maybe like a 70-30 split as far as the amount of work that needs to be done. Okay. But the day-to-day he'll be doing.
Well, the most fair way to do this, the proper way to do this is a little bit complicated, and you may not go for it, but I'll outline it for you, okay? I would put a job description on what each of you are going to be doing, and if you are going to hire someone to do what that person's doing. He's the general manager, you're the bookkeeper/purchaser part-time, right? And I would say, okay, that job, if we were to hire someone to do that, would pay X, and the other job would pay Y, and I would pay you guys out of the business for the work you're doing first. Just like you had a job there. Okay?
Okay.
Then, whatever profits are left, I would put 100% of that back in your pocket until your $75,000 is returned.
Okay. Do you think also, and that's another thing, is out of, let's say his inventory is $250,000. So we're going to have a balance, and he's going to want a percentage of that, to be paid within, maybe 2 years. And he's doing it, as far as.
What kind of profit is this business making?
Well, I would say they're doing maybe $500,000 a year. So I think he's pulling in maybe out of profit, maybe 125, maybe 150.
Okay, I don't like people investing money in stuff when they say maybe I think.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing.
We haven't gotten the full, the open books situation. I know what their margins are, and I know what their average sales are, and I know what their overhead is.
Get into the books before you make any decisions. But okay, that's fine. If we say, all right, we're going to give him 50% of the profits until he gets the balance, and we're going to give me 50% of the profits until I get up to 75. And and after your 75's returned, I'd give him 100% of the profits until you get him out of your life, because then there's no investor in the thing. It's completely free and clear. You got your 75 back. He got his money out. And then there's profits. Then how are you going to split those profits? 50-50?
Well, I mean, I'd like to be 50-50 with him. I think that's the fairest way to go if we're doing this together.
Okay. All right. Well, then you would continue to make your income for the job you do, which then, obviously, like you were paying us an employee, would lower the amount of profit, obviously, not by a lot, but by whatever that job pays. And then you'd split the profits 50-50 after that. You for being the investor, him from having brought the sweat and the opportunity to the table to start with. That all makes sense. Now, can I step in a little bit further into the weeds with you?
Yeah, sure. Great.
Okay. Couple of things that are danger areas that you need to cover. One is you guys need to have a very clear relational understanding up front that when we're at work, he's the general manager, you're the purchasing agent, and part-time bookkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
You use your general manager hat and voice and bookkeeper hat and voice, not your brother voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the number one of my concerns as well. But,
yeah. Well, the way you do it is you respect the person.
Shutting my mouth.
Yeah, you don't have two brothers on the floor of the furniture thing fighting like they're 9-year-olds, and the rest of the employees watching, and then wonder why you can't keep good people.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys have to have a respect for each other. I'm the CEO of Ramsey Solutions. Rachel Cruz is a Ramsey personality, my daughter, and when she's in this office or we're working on business items, she treats me like the CEO, and I treat her like a Ramsey personality, like I would a John Deloney or like I would a Christy Wright. I treat her with the same dignity. I don't use my dad voice on her, and she doesn't roll her eyes like a petulant teenager. Right?
Correct.
And so you've got to get that relational thing down. That's item number one. You need to work on that. That's a big deal. And you guys need to sit and talk that through. You may even want to write out a little bit of a narrative that you're both in agreement to, just for clarification on how you're going to do that. And when we can argue about football over Thanksgiving dinner, but we're not going to have, a big brother fight here. The problem with a 50-50 business is it's a two-headed monster and nobody's in control.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to split the ownership of the business 50-50 after your 75,000 is returned. Now, area number 2 of concern. Do a detailed, in-depth, written with a lawyer partnership agreement, or don't do this deal. And you'll have to cover all of the possible negative things that can happen, and most of them begin with a D. Divorce, death, disability, disinterest, I'm no longer interested. Default, I just refuse to work, but I'd like to keep all the money. Drug use.
What would be the best kind of lawyer? What would you
just a general business a lawyer that has a business practice. They're used to putting together. It's called a general partnership agreement, and what you cover is the negatives, because you don't want to be in business with his wife if he dies.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Even if you love her and you think she's awesome, that's not what you're signing up for. So what happens if he dies? Well, you probably need key man insurance on both of you, life insurance, term life insurance, that buys her out of his half if he dies. It leaves you, that you're the owner of the policy, but it's used to pay her. You get the money to buy her out, and that's preset ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And you can preset all the, that's a normal process. And this is how you end up speaking to your brothers still when you're 90 instead of hating each other. Because you have a plan for all the downsides. You have a way to respect each other in the operation of this. Because this is fraught with danger, this whole endeavor. There's a lot of downsides to this if you don't do it right. Family business can be wonderful, but it can also be cray-cray. And in studying family businesses over the years, I have noticed that the family business is never more functional than the family is. To the extent the family is dysfunctional, the family business is screwed. And two brothers that are, obviously you like each other, you wouldn't be talking about this, but there are those times when you get under each other's skin because you're brothers. That's how it works. And how are you going to manage that conflict? And how functional are you in handling conflict with each other? That's going to affect the business. It's going to destroy the business, or it's going to cause it to prosper. And we work with that here at Ramsey every day. We work hard on it to be able to keep things moving. That's a great question you asked. Thank you. A lot of different things, a lot of ground covered there for a bunch of you listening on things to do. Not a big fan of partnerships, but if you're going to do one with your brother, that's how you do it. This is The Ramsey Show. Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thank you for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Kearney, Nebraska, starting off this hour. Adam is with us. Hi, Adam. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Good. Well, kind of in a predicament, I guess you could call it. So unfortunately, I just recently went through a divorce. Long story short, her addiction was more important than me and my our little boy we have together. But and things just got toxic enough to where I said enough's enough. And anyways, that's where we're at. So my question kind of is so I am going to retain the house, mostly all the possessions and stuff. So I will have to pay her right around $37,000. And I have, still about $40,000 in student loans. I have $150,000 in mutual funds. And I'm wondering if, do I just pull the money out of that, refinance the house, to do some of this payment stuff, and just kind of, I guess, advice on where to go.
I'm sorry, man.
Financially,
that's hard.
Thank you. Yeah.
So basically, you got all the stuff, got the child, and got all the bills.
Correct.
And she gets $37,000.
Correct.
Which will be gone in 20 minutes. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What was she addicted to?
Alcohol.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How old are you guys?
I'm 32. She's 30.
Okay. How old's your little boy?
He is 2. So, yep, it was a rough 2 years, but
so you're
what it is. And
reviewing the numbers, there's $150,000 in mutual funds. That's not a retirement account?
Correct.
And you have $37,000 you owe her, and you have $40,000 of student loan debt. No other debt except your home.
Correct, and that's about $150,000 on
what do
the
you
house.
Make?
So I make $80,000 in salary, and then my bonus structure is quarterly. I've made $40,000, and my bonuses this year so far with one more quarter to go.
So your little boy in daycare?
Yes, he is.
Okay, all right. Well, you are you're in grieving mode, you're in pain mode,
Right.
and so it just makes it hard to do math when you're in that. And so I appreciate you calling.
Yep.
What I would do is this: if I woke up in your shoes, I would write her a check. I'd cash in some of the mutual funds, and $80,000 worth of the 150. That leaves $70,000 in the mutual fund, and I would write her a check for $37,000, and then that's done. Hands are clean, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then I'd write a check. I'd write another check and pay off your student loan.
Yep.
You're done. You still got $70,000 in a mutual fund. I'd pull a little bit more out and set it aside as your rainy day fund. Let's call it $20,000, okay?
Okay.
So now I just pulled 100 out. So now you got 50 in there. So you have an emergency fund, and you're debt free except your home, and you make 80,000 plus bonuses. And then I would set myself on a detailed budget that I stick to. The danger in your situation is that the emotions that you're going through, which are normal human things because you've been hurting, start to run your life and will ruin your life. And so you've got to put some number systems in place, like a budget, that keep you from grief spending.
And I've done that. I've been watching your podcast and stuff a lot too. So I already, my truck broke down too on top of it all. So, I had, a $60,000 truck ready to buy and stuff. And then said, well, no, that's probably not a great idea. You're going to do an emotional decision here. And so
And so what did the repair cost instead?
Oh, I sold it because it was going to be, over half of what it was going to cost for the cost of the vehicle. It was a $7,000, truck, and it was going to cost, $4,000 to fix it. So I'm buying my grandpa's truck who can't drive right now. So
what's that truck cost?
About $16,000. So it's going to cost me. 10-year-old F-150.
Much better decision. Good clear thinking there. So, if you're aware that you would have a tendency to do something stupid, and then you can avoid it, which you just did. You just said, hey, I'm in a weakened state right now, and I almost did a dumb thing. You just cover that. That's very powerful, what you just outlined. That means your brain's working really, really good right now in the middle of a very painful and horrible situation. So just move slow, other than those couple of basic moves I gave you. Pay her off, pay the student loan off, set $20,000 aside as an emergency fund, get on a budget, and then let's not do anything big for a while. Let's just kind of get the new rhythm of life with a single dad, and you're working, and you're picking him up at daycare, and you're giving him lots of hugs, and you kind of get the rhythm of this thing, and you don't have to, quote, bounce back. Just let yourself sit there and heal a little. And then maybe 6 months from now, I'm probably going to take that other 50 out of that mutual fund, and I'm going to continue to work our baby steps, which means I'm going to throw that at the house and start getting that house paid off. But I'm not doing that today. Today, I want that money laying around, just a buffer between you and all this pain. No debt. Emergency fund in place, plus $50K in a mutual fund, living on a budget, not spending more than you have coming in, not making any big financial decisions, and just get the rhythm of your life back, the new changes with all the new changes that have gone on, and give your heart some time to heal, because your heart's broken. And every time you pick your son up and look into his eyes, you cry again, because his mom's not going to be there because she chose the bottle, and it's sad. And so just give yourself some room to be human. Personal finance is also personal. There you go. Doesn't mean it's unique. Doesn't mean the law of gravity doesn't work for everyone. It does. But, your situation that you're in, you can give yourself margin to be human. And obviously you've done a great job with money to this point because you've got some. So that gives you a leg up as well. Good call, Adam. Appreciate you calling in. And as you're walking through this, if you need help with anything else, man, we're here for you. You just call in anytime. Keep in mind, when you're in pain, folks, your critical thinking skills shut down. Panic, fear, they're not your friend. Grief, it's not your friend. You coach your brain and you go into lizard brain mode instead of your ability to do high-level critical thinking. And so it's not the time to make good, solid decisions. This is The Ramsey Show.
Still on baby step number 1, eh?
How'd you guess?
With healthcare costs rising, learn how Christian Healthcare Ministries can help you make the most out of your budget. Visit chministries.org/budget.
Don't worry, it's worth it.
In 1978, I was 18 years old. I got my real estate license. When you're in the real estate business in those days, they gave you, you remember the Board of Realtors, the Multiple Listing Service, the MLS. We would get once every 2 weeks a book about 3 inches thick called the MLS book, and it had all of the houses in the city listed by area, little tiny squares of black and white picture, 6 or 9 to a page, and tiny little print of the features of the home under each one. And you would thumb through those and look at new listings, expired listings, sold listings, current listings, and you would be able to find a house to show a buyer if you were a real estate agent. You were not allowed to let anyone see that book unless they were a real estate agent. If you did, you would get censured by the Board of Realtors. You get fined. We protected that information and the consumer's access to that information of houses that were available on the market. You had to go through a realtor to find that information. Boy, has the world changed now. A house that's for sale is on 62 different websites now. And everything about it, some of the items on the listing are wrong, but some of the pictures are even wrong. Wrong house. But it's all over the place. With the high-tech real estate apps, home browsing sites out there, you might think no one needs a real estate agent to buy a house. That's pretty wrong. In fact, nearly 90% of buyers who bought a home last year used a real estate professional. If you've got an experienced and dedicated agent, it's their number one job to help you win, especially in a market as wild as this one. With these home prices doing what they're doing and people getting multiple offers, you can leave money on the table if you're a seller, and you can miss an opportunity if you're a buyer, or overpay if you're a buyer. This is not amateur hour out there right now. This is a weird real estate market, and you need a pro in your corner, whether you're selling or buying. Seller almost always covers the commission for a buyer's agent. If you're a buyer out there, get in touch. If you're a seller out there, get in touch. If you want to find some of the top real estate agents in America, we have vetted them. And I know that market. I know that world inside and out. And we've got the high octane, high protein, high performance, best performing real estate agents in your area. We call them endorsed local providers, ELPs. They're Ramsey trusted. If you want to find a great real estate agent, go to RamseySolutions.com/agent, and you'll find a trusted pro who can help you buy a home or sell a home. RamseySolutions.com/agent. Louise is with us in New York City. Hi, Louise. What's up?
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
So I recently got engaged to my girlfriend of almost 6 years. We've been living together already for 2 years since I moved here to New York City. We're both in debt. I have just over $20,000 in student loans and a little over $35,000 in credit cards. I don't know how much she owes, but she has a couple of cards that are almost maxed out, or basically maxed out. I don't think it's maybe just over 10 total. She doesn't have any student loans. We don't have a car. So any other loans, and we make about $150 gross, household before taxes. The question is, I've been following baby steps or money makeover, and I've tried to budget. I have the app, and I've tried to do it on my own just for my finances. I haven't really been able to follow through other than baby step number 1. I'll stick to the budget. And
what do you make? What do you make?
The question is 77.
Okay. So why have you not been able to move beyond saving $1,000?
I think because I haven't cut up my credit cards.
Yeah,
So
you're not living on it. You wrote out a budget, but you're not living on it.
Right.
You're still doing the same old crap after you wrote the budget and put it in the drawer.
Yes.
Yeah, that's normal. So you already know what you got to do to fix it, right?
Right. Yeah. So my question is, since we're now engaged and we're getting married next May, I want to, and I've tried to do it together. I mean, she doesn't really manage on her own.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't combine your finances until you're married.
Right, but what about like budgeting or
I wouldn't combine your finances. I wouldn't combine your finances until you're married. You shouldn't pay her bills. She shouldn't pay your bills.
No. I don't mean that, but we have household expenses and
well, that's just splitting it with your roommate.
And all of that.
That's just splitting it with your roommate. When she's your wife, it's different, but right now she's your roommate. And so
how to best discuss with her? I mean, even if we're not combining, but how to best discuss with her and adjust our lifestyle, because even if we're going to be at odds where if I'm trying to do something, but she's continues with our lifestyle.
What it amounts to is you have to have a vision beyond Friday night. Thank God it's Friday. Oh God, it's Monday. You're living short term, both of you. And when you start saying, hey, I think we could be out of debt, and I think we could be wealthy, and I think we could work together, and this money piece be a high level of communication and add to our relationship, and I'm going to really start sticking to this budget. I haven't done a good job so far, but I'm going to write out my budget. I'm going to start sticking to it. I'm going to really do this stuff, and I'll be cheering you on. I hope you do too, because when we're married, we're going to be doing that. We need to be working together to win long term, because couples who do not work together on money usually don't stay married. And if they do, they have a crummy marriage. Because if you can agree on your spending and agree on your money goals, what you're really agreeing on is your priorities, your fears, the things you love, your goals, and you're ready to go. So I think the best thing Luis can do is work on Luis right now instead of fixing somebody else, because you got some work to do on you, brother. So get that budget out of the drawer, start living on it, cut up the stupid credit cards. Plastic surgery tonight by candlelight right in front of your fiance. You don't have to cut hers up, you're cutting yours up. You're setting the trail, you're setting the example. Mackenzie is with us. Mackenzie is in Knoxville. Hi, Mackenzie. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Me and my husband are just a little confused on what to do next after baby step 3. Do we move on to 4, 5, and 6, or do we do baby step 3B where we save up for a house?
Either one's okay.
Either one. Okay. Our original goal was to pay 100% for a house, and that was going to take us 3 to 5 years to save up. But I didn't know if we needed to have that entirely saved up before we started investing. It just seemed like a long time before we started investing.
I mean, it's going to, obviously, if you start investing, it's going to slow your pace of savings towards the house. So sometimes couples do both. Sometimes they just roll up their sleeves and say, we're going to do this in 3 years. We're going to get her done, Let's just get after it here. You got to sit down and look at your numbers, but you can do 3B and go ahead and start 4 or not. I wouldn't do zero retirement savings for more than about 3 years. If you think you can save up the house or about be done in 3 years, then I would probably roll up my sleeves and get after it. I think that'd be great if you paid cash for a house in 3 years. That'd be pretty neat. Put you in an amazing position going forward, too. The wealth you'd be able to build would be amazing.
If you're ready to get out there and find a job you love, then you need to hear this. Job hunting can be stressful and time-consuming, but my friends at ZipRecruiter have made the whole job search way easier. ZipRecruiter is rated the #1 job site in the U.S. by G2, and it's free. So how does it work? First, go to ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Then create a free profile and let their technology do the hard work by finding and sending you jobs that are a great fit. And get this, ZipRecruiter pitches your profile to companies whose jobs match your skills and experience. If someone from that company likes your profile, they can personally invite you to apply for the job. So if you're ready for an easier job search, check out ZipRecruiter. Sign up for free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Sign up today, absolutely free, and let ZipRecruiter work for you.
In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Michael and Carly are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Great, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. Welcome. Where do you guys live?
Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Roll Tide, Dave.
All right. Look at you, man. I like it. Well, welcome to Nashville. Good to have you guys. So all the way up here to do a debt-free scream. How much have you paid off?
Just over $335,000.
Whoa! How long did this take?
Just over 3 years.
Good for you. And your range of income during that time?
I started about 200 up to right around 230, maybe just a little over.
Okay, cool. What do you do for a living?
I'm a pharmacist.
I'm a teacher.
All right, good for you guys. All right, that's a lot of money.
Yes.
So was that pharmacy school, or did you pay off your house?
That would be pharmacy school, most of it, about $252,000 worth of it.
Yeah, wow, yep. Okay.
And some was just undergrad playing around when I first started too, so it kind of led into a little of that too.
Very good. Yep. Okay, cool. What grade do you teach?
I teach middle school, so I have 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
You are a brave woman.
The best.
She's a brave lady. I like it. All right, so we got pharmacy school debt was some of it. What was the rest of the debt?
It was a piece of property we bought. Probably a year after we got married, we had to have a piece of property. Everybody was, has some property, so we had to do it too. Mm-hmm. That was about $73,000 worth of it.
Did you keep it or did you sell it?
We sold it.
What did it bring?
We actually sold it less than we bought it for. It was not a good, it was not a good buy. But you know what? It was actually an eye-opening experience, and we learned from it. So we ended up paying about $8,000 left on the loan, so it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but it actually sped things up a little bit.
Yeah, that got rid of a chunk of it. Yeah, very good. And you guys have a great income.
Yes, sir.
So how long have you been married?
It'll be 7 years on the 22nd.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you've been married 3 or 4 years, and something happens, you bump into this Ramsey process. Tell me your story. How'd you get plugged into us?
For myself, it was right after I graduated pharmacy school. I went over to my friend Josh's house, and I saw a book on the shelf, and I said, man, what is this right here? I was like, it looks awesome. It's got total money makeover, debt-free. And he's like, I don't know. He said, you want to read it? You certainly can have it. So I took it home. I read it. I read it, and I thought it was a great book, but, I didn't do anything else with it. And like I say, I was going, just going through the motions. Mm-hmm. And, one day it finally clicked. My wife will tell you, too, that my student loans every month, it was quite a bit every month. Mm-hmm. And we went to the accountant one day, and he said, you paid $20,000 worth of your student loans this year, but about $1,000 went to principal. And I was like, God, it was just heartbreaking to know.
200 years at that rate.
Yeah. All the money that you worked so hard for was going to somebody else. And really for me, that was the hardest part of it, was just knowing that you worked so hard and you were giving it to somebody else.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys come home from visiting the accountant and have the wake-up call, and then what'd you do?
Got on a budget and said, you know what, enough is enough. Like I say, when I first graduated, my idea was to just get on the income-based repayment, because I had roommates that did the same thing. They said, this is what we're going to do. I'd never heard of income-based repayment, so I was like, that sounds great to me. After 10, 15 years, it was all going to get forgiven. But then after that, like I say, we started paying all this money, and my interest rate, stayed the same. But I paid so much, but the principal actually kept going. The money kept going up. I actually owed more and more and more.
Yeah.
It's like, what in the world's going on? I was like, we were talking about it earlier today that, I paid double payments and it went up.
It's a scam.
I was like, what in the world's going on here? So for me, that was it. She was going to work to pay my student loans, and basically she was working for free, and I couldn't do it anymore. And so we had a talk, and we're certainly got on the same page about it for sure.
Okay. So Carly, what was the hardest part of this process over 3 years? Because you guys have been on beans and rice.
Well, yeah. Really just kind of agreeing what needs to go in the budget, how much we're going to spend for restaurants, how much are we going to spend for miscellaneous, if we want to go buy something. That was really it. But the more we did it, the easier it becomes. So now, it's really not that difficult. At first it was, but once you do it, it's not that bad.
Well done, guys. Well done. So what do you tell people the secret to getting out of debt is?
Get a plan. Work together. Go to work.
Hey man, you're in debt. Don't think about vacation. Go to work.
Yeah.
Like I say, if you see somebody doing all this, for myself, I know. When you see somebody that's doing these, 30-year financial homes, 0 down, no interest rate loans for, furniture and leasing cars. That was, for me, like that's it. Do something different. Be different. Don't be like everybody else. Anybody can take the easy way out, but just like I said, get up and go to work. Don't do debt. Because you're going to work for somebody else, and that's why they have, like you said, that's why they have the big buildings. Yeah. Because they're taking your money.
That's exactly right. They're living off of you, and you're making $200,000.
That's right.
And now you're making $200,000. You got no payments in the world.
Amen.
How's that feel?
Good.
That feels awesome. I'm telling you. It feels like a chain, like you say. Like your shows, you see chains on you and things like that. It really is. People don't realize that you have this money. You say you have this money in your savings account, but if you have people that you owe, you don't have anything. You don't have anything. They call your loan. It's theirs. Yeah. And you don't have anything until you get rid of it.
Exactly. And now you do. Well done, guys. Who's your biggest cheerleaders?
I would think for me it would be my dad. He is very much a cash money person. If you don't have the money, you don't buy it. And I wouldn't necessarily say cheerleader, but I would say motivation, because I know what he's thinking when we're making these payments on things, and I know what he's thinking. So just
well, then he's proud right now.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I bet. Very cool. Well done, you two. Very well done. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
You're heroes. You took control of your lives. Very, very cool. We got a copy of The Legacy Journey for you. That's the next chapter in your story to go on and be baby steps millionaires now. And you're well on your way. This great income and no payment. And now you got control of your money.
Absolutely.
And you know how to work together. You've got 3 years in the trenches to prove that. So very, very cool. Also a copy Total Money Makeover for you to give away off your shelf someday. And maybe some guy will read it and it'll start something. You never know, right? That's the way that stuff works. Always pay it forward. Good job. Well done. All right, it's Michael and Carly, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. $335,000 paid off. Whew! A lot of student loans. 3 years. They did it making $200 to $230. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt-free.
Yeah! Woo! Love it. Very, very, very well done. Congratulations, you guys. We really appreciate you. That's fabulous. Guys, the student loan thing continues to be out of control in America. And some of you have kind of been able to sweep it under the rug because you've not had to make payments or not had to make interest on it in the last little while with all the pandemic crap that came down out of Washington, D.C. And it allowed you to ignore this elephant standing in the middle of your living room, standing on your chest. And you could ignore it. You can't ignore it anymore. You've got to deal with these student loans. You've got to deal with them. And if you've got a student that's thinking about getting into the student loans, jump online and watch Borrowed Future, our documentary. You can watch it at Amazon Prime, at Google Play, on Apple TV. It'll blow your mind how crooked the whole student loan thing is. $1.7 trillion in debt now, and everybody's just being real quiet about it right now. It was a big deal about a year and a half ago, but then the pandemic comes along and everybody's like, oh, we don't have a problem anymore. No, it's all still there. It's all still there, and they're still making these loans. They run around talking about forgiving student loans while they're still making them. That's intellectually dishonest. That's wrong. How can you talk about forgiving something because it's so bad while you continue with the other hand to keep making the loan? See, the first thing you need to do, Congress, is stop the stupidity. Then you can talk about forgiveness, but until then, you can't even talk about it intelligently with integrity. Oh, wait a minute. I said integrity and Congress in the same sentence. That was a bad idea. This is The Ramsey Show. Thank you for joining us, America. We're glad you're here. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. Mo is with us. Mo is in Milwaukee. Hi, Mo. How are you?
Dave, I'm doing good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Great to hear. Well, I do want to continue the trend from the last call and say that I'm debt-free, thankfully, as of this morning.
Way to go. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I paid off about $23,000 in the last 5.5 months, all student loans. And my question for you today is, what's next? I don't know what to do. I'm really young. I'm making decent money, and I don't know where to put it. So hoping you could help, Dave.
Well done. Well, by getting rid of the debt, you now have control of your most powerful wealth-building tool, your income. So what do you make, Mo?
I make about 67 right now.
Good. What do you do?
I'm an engineer.
Oh, good.
Started about 6 months ago, and right out of school, I started paying off my student loans and wanted to get them done out of the way by December, and I was a month early on my plan, so
way to go, Dave.
Thankfully, it worked out. Thank you.
So what are you, 23, 24?
I'm 22.
Oh, wow.
Still young. I'm the youngest guy in my team.
Yeah, so. You graduated early. Well, good. Good for you. Okay, so what we teach is a thing called the baby steps, which is the shortest path between where you are and wealth, and that's the idea, so that you live like no one else, so later you can live and give like no one else. Outrageous generosity and a good lifestyle. That's what we're after here. And so now that you're debt-free, your next goal would be to have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. It's a simple savings account with some money in it just for a rainy day. And so if you're making 67, if we said your expenses are $3,000 a month, then you'd need $9,000. So I'd say you need $10,000 to $15,000 in that account. That's your next goal.
Okay.
And if you got that sitting there just for emergencies, if you need to save and buy anything else, if you need to upgrade a car, if you're needing to buy some furniture, anything like that, you're just out of school, then you would save and pay cash for that after that emergency fund is in place. That's
the plan.
Okay, then that moves us on to baby step 4. Start saving 15% of your income into retirement. And beyond that, I would start saving towards the first house.
Okay, and I guess my question for that is, what percent of the rest of my income should I put away into savings for that new house? I mean, 15% of my income and rent, after I save up that 3 to 6 months expenses, still leaves me with a whole hell of a lot at the end of the month, and I don't know how much to put away for that house, how much to give, how much to invest in other accounts.
Well, these are personal choices. Obviously, the more you save, the less you have to spend and give. The more you give, the less you have to give and spend. And so, or the less you have to save and spend. So, you need to do something on all three categories. You need to have a reasonable life. You make good money. You're a sharp young guy. You don't need to be living on, ramen noodles. There's no need to. You've done a good job. Number two, you ought to always have generosity in your budget. And then number three, we're saving for a house. And obviously, the more we put in that house account, the more money's going to be there. No kidding. And so, just start messing with it a little bit. Start playing with it. You can play with 1% 1 month and change it around. I'm an evangelical Christian, so I tithe. I give 1/10 of my income as a baseline to my local church. That's the first thing I do on my generosity list. Beyond that, we do other giving as well, but that's the baseline. That's a starting point for me. And so you could weave that into your equation if you wanted to, or something like that. But yeah, you're right on it. Here's the thing. You're going to be fine. You're an engineer, which means you know numbers. You're intentional. You're 22 years old. You're calling this show and thinking about these things. You're going to be an absolute rock star. You're going to be a Baby Steps millionaire. You're going to get there. Hang on. I'll send you a copy of the Total Money Makeover, which is the actual template, every detail and nuance of the baby steps, how to do the stuff we talk about here on the air every day, the Total Money Makeover. Hold on. Kelly will give you a copy. Congratulations, sir. Thomas is in Virginia, Alexandria to be precise. Hi, Thomas. How are you?
Very good, sir. Thank you for taking my call. Really appreciate what you do. How are you doing, sir?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Well, I have a student loan question since we are on the topic today. And just to let you know, I'm just recently married a month ago.
Oh, congratulations.
And, well, thank you. And my wife has always been very disciplined with money. And I have been the opposite of that, racking up debts from credit card to student loan debt and medical debt because I was uninsured for a while. And about over a year ago, we had a tension point while we were still dating with how we spend money. And so after reading your book, really took to the debt snowball. And I'd been paying off debt before that, but paid off about $20,000 worth of medical and student loan debt. So right now I only have the student loan debt left.
Good for you.
And our question was, so when we came together, she had a financial advisor, and she has money in savings and retirement with, right now the retirement's at over $500,000. And she did the entire 6-month emergency fund. So with the remaining debt that I have, we could pay it off. But the financial advisor told us that, with everything that's happening in D.C. and this talk of student loan forgiveness up to $50,000, that maybe it would be smart to wait a year to see if it actually happens. And just wondering what you think about that.
Well, I think if you think that that's going to happen inside of a year, that you're dreaming. Have you ever heard the phrase, it takes an act of Congress, and the phrase means it takes forever, and it's not likely to happen? Well, this takes an act of Congress, and it takes forever, and it's not likely to happen. This is a political disaster looking for a place to happen for somebody, and it's not going to happen in a year. If it was going to happen in a year, there would already be bills on the floor. And they're just not. They're not. All they're doing is popping their gums like they always do. They just run around running their mouth, and they don't never do anything. They just talk and just get on Fox News and yell at each other. That's all they do. And so you're waiting around on those people to fix your life? Not a chance, dude. I think you probably need a new financial advisor, and I'd write a check today and pay off the debt.
Okay. No, that's good advice. And that's what I was thinking, too, is that, in his viewpoint was as well, with the midterm elections, maybe with, something will change within the year. So just to hold off. And
well, wait a minute. The Republicans are not for student loan forgiveness by and large. And with the ratings of the current administration, the midterm elections are not going to bring in more Democrats. unless something changes. So it's going to go the other way. It's going to move away from student loan forgiveness at the midterm elections. So once again, this guy's not a political analyst either, apparently. So no, I'm not. You do what you want to do, but you called and asked me if I woke up in your shoes, I'd write a check today. I'm not sitting around and wait on Washington to fix my life. You have a long wait, man. A long wait. So I would just be done with this. You borrowed the money. You could pay the money back. There's a neat idea. And move on with your life, man. Let's go. Let's go. That's what I would do. Thanks for calling in, sir. We appreciate you. So there are some extreme situations, and I love grace. I like for folks to get a fresh start. The idea that some of you could have your student loans wiped out, it's for those of you that are in pain with this stuff, I understand. But on the other hand, there's some principles involved in this. And one of the principles is we shouldn't keep making the loans before we have a discussion about forgiving them. That's intellectually dishonest. And again, check out Borrowed Future. Give it a watch tonight. Give the old documentary a look-see. You'll see what we're talking about. It's a mess out there, y'all. It's a mess. And Congress made the mess. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, this is James, senior producer for The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? And a lot of those people listen on one of our 600 plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, head to theramseyshow.com.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thank you for joining us, America. This is common sense for your dollars and cents. It's The Ramsey Show. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Brett is in Tampa, Florida. Hi, Brett. How are you?
Good, Dave. I asked you how you were doing, but I think I know the answer to the question.
Some things are predictable, my brother. What's up?
That's right. So thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I have the opportunity to purchase a business that I've been working for 15 years. I'm pretty much running the company for the last 5 years. The current owner's taking a lot of time off, so I'm running the company. He's given me the opportunity to buy the company. I've got to come up with cash operating capital. He's going to take a note back on the remaining amount of money for the company. So I'm short by about $150,000. So my question is I've got a house that has a mortgage of about $370,000. It's appraising for $710,000. Would it be wise to get the additional money I need out of the equity of my house?
I don't understand why when you buy a business you need operating capital. Explain that to me.
It's more of a safety net than anything else. And it's part of the negotiations that I'm having with him. That's what the minimum amount of money he wants for operating capital in the business.
Oh, okay. So you don't actually need the money in the business. He just wants you to have retained earnings in the business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, as long as I operate the business correctly, which I've been doing for a long time, and we should never get below the operating capital that I put into the company.
Mm-hmm. So what is the business gross revenues and what's the net profits?
The net is around about $300,000 a year.
And how much are you paid?
$170,000.
Okay. What can you live on?
Probably $130,000.
Probably $100,000.
Well,
okay. So $370,000. And how much is he? Or $300,000. What is he? What's he want for this business?
500.
Okay. And that net profit figure you gave me, you're intimately aware of that because you're running the place, right?
That's correct.
After you're paid $170,000, it makes $300,000.
That's correct.
And he wants $500,000.
Correct.
Okay, it's a good deal. Good price. Usually when I get these stories, it's not a good price. That's where I was headed because I was getting ready to run you off from this deal, but I'm not going to now. We just have to change the negotiation because I'm not going to have you go borrow on your house to do it. I think that's a bad idea, especially for retained earnings that are just going to sit there and look at you to make the guy feel comfortable. After you've been running the dadgum thing for 5 years, he ought to be comfortable. He pays you $170,000 a year, so I'm not buying this crap. So I would propose a counter offer in the negotiation, and it would sound like this. I'm willing to pay myself only $100,000, and that leaves approximately $350,000 to $400,000 in profit to work with. The very first $150,000 out of that profit, I will pledge to retained earnings for operating capital. After that is established, which is less than 6 months later, right? After that is established, I will give you 100% of the profits above my $100,000 salary until you are paid off, which will pay him off in about 3 years or less. About 2 years, actually about 2 years. Because we need $650,000 to have $150 in operating capital and pay him $500, right?
That's right.
Okay. And if the business is making $350, then you do that in 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, he's paid. He's paid out in 2. He's paid out in 2 years. He's paid out, and you have before that happened put $150 in there, and he's paid out in 2 years. I'm going to give you 100% of the profits until you're paid.
Right. And if he's not willing to do that, and he's adamant about it,
then I'll walk.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go get a different job, and he's going to get this business back in his lap that he hasn't run in 5 years and doesn't know what the crap he's doing. He's going to have a serious problem in the bathroom right after you do this.
All right.
Believe me, he wants to do this deal.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he'll need adult diapers otherwise. Right? Yeah. Listen, I'm telling you, man, he don't want this thing back. He wants to sell it to you. And he's going to get all his money in 2 years, and you're going to meet your capital requirement in the first 6 months? There's nothing unreasonable about this. What's the reason for the capital requirement? The reason for it, if there's a business reason, not an emotional reason, is he wants to know that the business is stable because you got some slush money there. You've got retained earnings for problems, right?
Right.
And you're going to put that in there in 6 months. It's not like it's going to take you 6 years to establish this, and it's not like he's going to be on the hook for 6 years either.
Yes, and I would assume I could put some language in the contract for the same too.
Yeah, the contract would read the first 100, and I will take no more than 100,000. 100% of the profits will be applied to this formula. The first 150,000 of 100% of the profits will go into retained earnings. Following that, 100% of the profits will come to you until it gets to 500,000. Which, if profits stay the same, by the way, we have just done the math, is 2 years or less.
And he may want the profit to go towards his note as first position rather than operating capital.
I don't care. It's fine with me. He's the one brought up the stupid operating capital. We didn't.
Right.
If you want to take the operating capital out of the equation completely, he can have his money in 18 months.
Yeah.
I'll just give you 100% of the profits. You'll be gone in 18 months. And I'll deal with the operating capital. If I need to get some, I'll go borrow on my house. But that ain't your problem, Bubba. I'm running the business.
Got it.
You got this. What kind of business is this?
Construction.
Good. Oh, and by the way, we're in a boom time. Hello. Yeah, this is awesome. What kind of construction? Residential, commercial, what?
Commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. Equipment coming with us too?
Very, very little.
Okay.
We're mainly a paper contractor.
All right, good. Hey, man, get her done. I think you got a good deal here, but just don't, you're in the driver's seat. He's not. That's my point. So let's get this thing and get it right. Get him out of the picture as fast as you can. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're considering a career in technology, I recommend Bethel Tech, and I'm not alone. Here's what Brendan said. Before Bethel Tech, I was driving Uber. Within 4 months of graduating, I got a job paying $60,000. About 2 years after that, I got a remote job that pays me $130,000, all thanks to what I learned at Bethel Tech. You could be next. Get started today at BethelTech.net and get $1,000 to $2,500 off of your tuition. Again, it's BethelTech.net/Ken Coleman.
We've all heard the saying, it's better to give than to receive. And you know what? It's more fun, too. And while you can have a great time giving the latest gadgets or gizmos to the folks on your Christmas list, you can also give them something that actually has an impact, something that will change their lives for the better. That's why our team is putting everything on sale today. Go ahead and get your Christmas gift shopping done while our bestsellers are up to 73% off. We have gifts for him, gifts for her, gifts for kids of all ages, but this is a one-day sale, so don't wait to get started today. Some of our top deals include our famous starter envelope system for only $5.99, and of course you can shop our famous $10 sale, get over 40 of our best-selling books for just $10 or less. Forget the one-time use presents, give a gift of a lifetime of hope. Shop today, Veterans Day sale, at RamseySolutions.com. Be sure and check it out, RamseySolutions.com. Kara is with us. Kara is in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Hi, Kara. What's up?
Hi, Dave. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Sure.
I really appreciate you and all of your team.
Thank you.
So I'm calling because we found you a little bit later in our financial journey, and our financial journey has been filled with a lot of dumb, but thankfully a little smart. And your baby steps and coaching have changed everything. So we're debt-free now, and we have a healthy retirement fund, but I also have a junior and senior in high school with no college fund. So what my wondering is I've run our numbers, and I feel like we can slow down baby step number 4 in order to help cash flow their college years. And I've actually done this, but with a lot of anxiety, which is why I'm calling you, because I'm wondering, is this wise, and am I on the right track with my thinking?
What's your household income?
$230,000.
Okay, so 15% is $34,000, right? $35,000. Okay. And
yeah,
what are you spending on college?
Well, because they're so close together, I'm trying to save about $18,000 for each per year.
Okay.
So they'll be paying some in too.
Yeah. What are you planning to spend on college?
Total for them. I mean, that's my total spend for 4 years. So.
18,000? No, 18,000 times 4.
18,000 times 4 per kid.
Okay.
So I'm in at $36,000 a year since they're back to back.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you make $230, and if you saved 36 for college and 35 for retirement, that's only 70 of the 230. How is it you can't eat?
Oh, no, we can definitely eat. And I'm putting it away for sure. I think my anxiety is more around slowing down the retirement. I slowed it down. So you're suggesting we could keep the $35,000.
That would be 15% of your household income.
Yeah, and I slowed it down to $20K per year.
Okay, but if you saved 35 into retirement at 15%, and you spent 36 on your kids for college per year, that's 70,000 out of 230.
Okay.
Why can you not make that?
I think when I run our numbers on our budget, it feels like our tax bills are really high. When I add it all up, it's like $26,000 a year, and all my things that I put into our sinking fund and tax bills, and all of that.
What do we have sinking funds for?
We have a 20-year-old house. We've got old cars that are paid for, driveways that need to be replaced and things like that. We haven't done, because we didn't do SMART early on, we haven't been putting money aside for home repairs.
Okay, let's change our strategy from sinking funds on this to projects.
Okay.
And say we need to replace a car during the time they're in college. We need to replace a roof during the time they're in college. And you just put that in your 230. I think you can do this. I think you're overanalyzing this.
Okay.
It sounds like you've got money going into about 63 different pockets.
It feels like that, for sure.
Yeah, and I think I would want to clean that up and simplify it to a project-based idea rather than a sinking fund idea. In your case, it's good to have some sinking funds for certain things, some little mini savings accounts to cover an upcoming expense. That's all a sinking fund is for those of you out there. But that's not a bad idea at all. But if it's causing you to stop saving for retirement for the next 6 to 7 years, or to slow your savings for retirement next 6 to 7 years, I don't think I want to do that. What is the how much is in the balance on the retirement account now?
We have $800,000.
Okay, all right.
And I have a pension.
Yeah.
So that I'll get in 10. When I retire.
So you're millionaires.
We are.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your house worth?
$550.
Good. Okay, well, you've done a great job. I mean, this is kind of almost theoretical discussion. So, I with $800,000 sitting there and a paid-for house sitting there, I can understand if you want to dial it back. It's not the end of the world. I'm just trying to challenge your thinking a little bit and see if it's sound. I'm just beating up against the edge of it and see if it'll fall over. But
that's exactly why I called you.
Yeah, I mean. If you do what you're going to do, you're certainly not going to retire broke. You're already a millionaire. You've already done it. You're a great job. But just don't, you got no house payment, so you got even more wiggle room in this budget too.
Right.
So I think I would probably relook your sinking funds, and let's not not have too much of that detail going on. It's probably paralyzing you a little bit, and do that to a project base. You see what I mean when I say that?
Yeah.
And then let's see if you can get back to your 15% and do it and still make it. That's what I'm going to work towards. But if you don't, if you're down at 10% or something or whatever, and you're still going to have millions and millions of dollars. So, oh darn, I hate it when that happens. So, good work overall. Phil is with us in Ocean City. Hi, Phil. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's up?
So I have a good problem. I was just selected for a new position at a new location, but my conflict is that I'm not sure whether or not I should take it, and I'm approaching 0 hour to make a decision for the HR. I have 3 girls under 7. This is going to require a move because it's 150 miles round trip. And I have a deployment coming up next fall, and the new position is a promotion, but it's no immediate raise because of the cost of living adjustment. So as I'm saying this out loud, I'm leaning more and more towards not taking the position for the well-being of my family. But
why would you move for no money?
That, as I was leaving my mouth, I Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I would ask my supervisor that. Why would I move for no money?
The potential for there to be it's a government position, so I get selected at a GS level.
Yeah.
And then over the course of a few years, there's automatic raises, and that would be the benefit over the course of, say, 7 years, but immediately there's no benefit.
Yeah. And I bet you that comes up again later if you don't take it now.
Good point, sir. Yes, absolutely. And then my wife and I were just trying to talk it out. And
Are you active duty?
My head and, no, sir, I'm National Guard.
Okay, I was thinking the way you were describing this. So you got a civilian government, federal government position, and then you're National Guard.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's not much negotiation because it's the government. It's not like they're going to come in and change something. This is what they're going to do or they're not going to do it. But I don't see... there's nothing here that makes me smile. Uproot your little baby family right before you go and you move them all for no money just for future potential later with the government? I'll probably wait and take the next one as it comes along after you get back from deployment and everybody's got a little more energy and maybe they'll actually offer some money to go with it. That's probably me, but it's not the end of the world, but that's probably what I would do. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Chad and Siobhan are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Better than I deserve. Welcome. It's good to have you in Nashville. Where do you guys live?
We live in Windham, Maine.
Windham, Maine. Now, what is that near?
It's 15 miles outside of Portland.
Ah, okay.
Sebago
Lake. Had a guy on it a couple hours ago from Portland.
We met them. We couldn't believe it.
That's pretty cool. And 2 debt-free screens from Portland, Maine area today. Very good. Mm-hmm. Lobster capital of the world, huh?
That's right, baby.
I love it. Love that town. It's great. Hey, so how much debt did you guys pay off?
We paid off $207,000 of debt. We also cash flowed over $100,000 for a total of $307,000.
Whoa! Cash flowed what?
We cash flowed some upgrades and renovations to our house. That was $50,000. $20,000 was some vehicles. I had some Dave cars. I'm a road warrior. $10,000 was a surprise Disney trip when we got halfway through the baby steps. We also did 2 sets of braces, a hip, and a couple of appliances lately. It's been kind of funny.
Yeah, wow. So is this house and everything?
Yes, sir.
Way to go! Wow! All right, how long did this take?
9 years.
Way to go, you guys. Excellent. And your range of income during that 9 years?
We started out at $55,000, and we're at $136,000.
Love it. What do you guys do for a living?
I work at a chiropractic office, front desk.
I'm a sales associate for a moving company, and I'm also a part-time bartender.
All right. Very, very good. What's this house worth?
About $300,000.
Way to go, you guys. How old are you two?
I'm 46.
I'm 40.
Ah, in a paid-for house.
Yes, sir.
You're so weird. I love it.
You know, when you said that, I was like, wow, I wonder what he means by that. And when we paid it off, we went to celebrate. And we told the girls that they could get dessert now. And so the maitre d' was bringing the dessert out, and she looked at one of my daughters and said, "What's the occasion?" And she said, "We just paid off the house." And the looks that we were getting, and the people next door and the tables were whispering, and that's when I realized what you really meant.
Well, normal's broke, man. You don't want to be normal. You want to be weird. Way to go, you guys. Whoop, 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 whoop. This is so fun. What a great journey. So what started you with Ramsey 9 years ago?
I'm going to look at my notes. On February 27, 2012, our middle daughter, Paige, had to have hip surgery at Boston Children's.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. About 6 days before that, my husband's insurance. We had to renegotiate a new policy. So actually, while we were staying in the hospital, we ended up hitting 2 deductibles. Yep, it's the luck of the draw. So along with the hospital debt, though, we weren't budgeting.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we weren't working together.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, I got notification 6 days before we were headed down.
Mm-hmm.
This was the second surgery for Paige. So we spent 10 months prior going through this process, and then in November beforehand, they told us that it didn't work and that they were referring us down to Boston.
Mm.
So it was a pretty big blow. Siobhan took it very hard. We all did. But what happened was the 21st of February, I got notification from my employer that they were negotiating hard on the insurance, and they just came to a point where they made a decision that they were going to change our health care coverage. And so I got notification 6 days beforehand that instead of a standard PPO, they were going to go to a high deductible HMO with an HSA.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got the notification, my heart went in my throat.
Yeah. So that's an extra $5,000.
More than that, because what happened was we were looking at, well, it was $5,900, because what happened was is that we were going to hit the first deductible, $35,
Right.
and then they did a bridge for $24,600. That's what we were thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we went down to Boston Children's, I went to the Family Care Center and just said, listen, you know, I need to understand what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Family Care Center had a couple of gals from the billing department come down and sit down. The one thing they looked at me and said was, Chad, you're going to have to keep coming down here. This process, she's so young, what she's going to go through, you're going to have to come back down here. We think it's going to be closer to 10 over 18 months.
Wow.
And just the blow really, I hit bottom.
Yeah.
We had maxed out credit cards, 3 maxed out credit cards. We had $10,000 on a home equity line. We had the mortgage. And I was basically, a couple of months beforehand, I had to use the home equity line to pay some of the credit card bills because we were disorganized.
Sure.
We weren't working together.
Sure.
And so basically, after the meeting at the Family Care Center, I walked up to the hospital room because Paige just got out of surgery, and they were going to only let one of us stay. So Siobhan wasn't going to go anywhere. So I walked up into the medical room and just stood there and looked at him. And basically, my wife was in a pull-out cot, and my daughter was in a full body cast from her chest to her ankles with tubes and monitors. And that was it. That was it. Basically,
this is about to change.
There was a line in the sand that got crossed. And
now I'm mad.
And and basically that's a hit bottom. And I looked at him and I just said, never again. We're Athertons. We're done with this stuff. We're not playing any more games. We're not playing. We're going to hit this head on, and we're going to go after this. And I don't care what it takes. And so I gave my girls a kiss, and I went to the hotel to try to figure out what we were going to do.
How'd you find us?
I was in the hotel room. I had my hot shower in my moment, and I came out and I opened up my laptop and I did 2 Google searches, and your website popped up. And on the second try, thank God, my mother. I was a little bit sharper. I didn't go to 3. It only took me 2. But on the second try, I happened to look and see your podcast symbol, and I'd never listened to podcasts. And so I just sat there and I looked at it and I said, okay. So I searched you, and I don't know why I hesitated, but I did. And I just said, you know what? Hit it. And I hit it, and I heard the saxophone and the intro, and I heard you take your first couple of calls, and what you would do is you'd empathize and you'd methodically pull the facts and put it on your yellow pad that you had, and you'd go through the facts and you'd empathize, but then you'd kick them in the butt. And this one lady, you said you're being a princess. Being a princess. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm like. This is it. I need someone to tell me the truth. And then I heard my first debt-free scream, and I'm sitting there, I'm crying, and this one guy that was doing the debt-free scream, he just said, drink the Kool-Aid, and he goes, just follow through, and he did it. And I go, you know what, that's what I need to do. I just need to. And so right then and there, I just said, we're doing this.
And 9 years later, here you are.
Yep.
Wow. That's powerful, dude. That's powerful. I'm honored. Wow. Very, very cool. All right. So let's get the kiddos up into the shot. What are their names and ages nowadays?
So this is Haley.
Mm-hmm.
Haley is 16.
Mm-hmm.
This is Sophia.
Mm-hmm.
Sophia's 11.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Paige.
Mm-hmm.
And Paige is... You're how old?
14.
14. There's so many.
I love it. Well, well done, you guys. What
Thank
a great family story. Your mom and dad have paid a price to change your family tree, ladies. And powerful, powerful story. That's pretty cool, dude. Proud of you guys. You're heroes.
That means
very,
a lot.
very well done. We've got a copy of the Legacy Journey for you because the next step is for you to be Baby Steps millionaires. And you're on your way to do that. You're the kind of people we are here for. We love you. Very, very well done. Excellent, excellent. All right, gang. Chad and Siobhan from Portland, Maine. 207 plus 100,000 in cash flow. 307 over 9 years, making 55 to 136, all from a line in the sand. No more. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
Yeah! Our scripture of the day, 2 Timothy 2:15. Do your best to present yourself to God as one approved, a worker who does not need to be ashamed and who correctly handles the word of truth. John Maxwell says most people who decide to grow personally find their first mentors in the pages of books. Well, that would be true. I did. And still do, for that matter. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Morgan is with us in Pittsburgh. Hi, Morgan. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I just had a question. My boyfriend and I, we just, not kind of recently graduated college. We're a year and a half out, and he's 2 years out. And I have a lot of student debt, and he has a little bit in a car payment. And we're trying to eventually move out of my parents' house. And we're just wondering the next big steps we could take to tackle all our debt.
You both graduated?
Yeah. He graduated 2 years ago, and I graduated May 2020.
So what do you make? How much money do you make?
I make $70,000 a year, and he makes roughly $65,000.
Okay. All right. So you have a $135,000 household income if you were married?
Correct.
Okay. So go get married.
Tell him that. I've been waiting on it.
Well, he needs to move out if he's not going to get married.
Yeah, I know. We both live at my parents' house, luckily, so we don't have any...
I know. He needs to move out if he's not going to get married. No, I'm serious. You can't, I got to tell you, here's the statistical evidence. All right. The number of people who do what you all are doing and succeed financially is almost zero. Okay. Everybody talks about it, but nobody does it. So if you want the formula to win, there's a thing called the marriage advantage in the financial world. And we see people who are married prosper over those who are not. There's a marriage advantage. Health increases everything. And so, yeah, I would get married, the first thing I would do, and then you have a $135,000 household income. I don't know why you would be living at your mother's in that situation. You'd go get an apartment, and then you would attack your student loan debt. And making $135,000, how quickly can you pay off this debt? Pretty dadgum quick if you start concentrating on it, right? When you clean up both student loans, how much student loan debt have you got again?
I have a lot. I have $150,000. He only has $20,000.
Okay, so $170,000 combined. And how much other debt?
That's all I have, and then he has a truck payment or truck loan for $20,000.
Okay, so $190,000 gets you guys out of debt if you keep the truck. All right, and you make $135,000 if you're married, and you live on nothing. You could do this in under 3 years, probably approaching 2 years. You could be 100% debt free.
With moving out?
Yeah. You're not going to rent anything fancy. You're going to rent something that's not fancy. You don't need anything fancy.
So you suggest renting then?
Oh, definitely. Buying. You're broke.
Okay.
You're $190,000 in debt. You don't need to buy a house.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
because I know at first, like, of course, you have parents and family. Everyone's telling you, "Oh, don't rent, buy." So we've always had like buying in our head.
Are these the same people who told you to get $190,000 in debt?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think I'm taking their financial advice anymore. They're not bright. Yeah, you need to get this mess cleaned up, because if you don't have any payments at all, you're married 2 years from now, 3 years from now, no payments at all, and you're making $135,000. By then you'll be making more, making $150,000 a year. You can save up and buy a house pretty quick, can't you? And crap, you're only 23, 24 years old, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so I mean, we're talking at 25, 26, you start talking about buying a house, and you'll be able to put down a huge chunk because you're used to living on nothing and paying off debt.
So my next question is, because then I have about roughly 20 in my savings, and he has roughly 34.
Oh, good. This is going to go even faster then, because we're going to throw all of that at the debt.
Okay, that was my next question. And I know I've just recently actually found your Instagram page, and I've watched the steps. So technically, I guess we're at step 2, because we could take some of that and have our small emergency fund. So then you suggest
you would just list, if you were married, you would just list your debts, all of these we've talked about, the $190,000, smallest to largest, and you would apply the $70,000 worth of savings to the smallest ones until it ran out.
Okay.
And got you down to $1,000. Now that's all after you get moved, and you're going to put up some deposits and that kind of stuff, and you're going to pay for the marriage license. Are you seeing a theme here? I keep talking about you getting married. Did you get that theme?
I know. I hope he's listening.
Yeah. I hope he is too, because if he's not, you ought to kick him out.
I know. I'm going to tell him you told me so.
Yeah. I mean, he needs to start. Let's man up here. If this is your woman, dude, let's call it. Okay, do it. Let's move forward. It's time to start acting like adults, not 14-year-olds, and let's get some stuff done here. You can do it. You're smart. You're smart people. You're not dumb. Y'all make good money at 23 years old. I mean, you're really bright, and you've done really well. But you're making some money. You're making, you're emotionally living below your age, because you're in your mama's basement playing shack up instead of getting married and going and being two adults as a married couple, grown people.
Yes.
And so I'm trying to push you out of the nest here for your own good, because that's where you'll prosper. When you guys throw your shoulders back like two adults and get after this, you're going to see some huge progress and lock arms, and it'll be the first big joy of your new marriage is to be able to clean this mess up and move on. I'm proud of where you're going to be at 25 already. I think it's going to be awesome. And I'm just being pushy to get you there for you. Doesn't do anything for me. I want to get you there. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and give you a wedding gift. I want you to go through Financial Peace University, and I'm going to sign you up for a year with your new husband for Ramsey Plus, and get them in there, and we'll get this going. All right, open phones at 888-825-5225. Sean is in Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, Sean, how are you?
Hey, Mr. Ramsey, how are you?
Better than I deserve. What's your question, sir?
So, I've been listening to you for about a year and a half now. I've got probably 100 hours down.
Wow.
Following your program. My mom has got me started on it. So I'm 26 years old. I have 2 daughters. Unfortunately, they're both split families, separate moms. I'm currently living with my mother. I only make about $60,000 a year as a Ford dealership technician. I took your advice and got rid of the big stupid truck that I do not deserve.
Good.
And since I got it on a really good deal, I was able to pay off several other notes that I had.
Awesome. I'm a little short on time. Go ahead and ask your question, Sean.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out what I need to do to be getting myself and my daughter set up. I have very, very little invested. I had to get another vehicle. I drive 70 miles a day. I needed something reliable. I got another car note.
How much do you owe on the car?
Not quite sure. 19.
Okay. You bought too much car. You're a technician, man. You work on cars. You know you don't have to have a $19,000 car to have a reliable car.
Yes, sir. I do know that.
Yeah. You just impulsed again. So let's get that one sold and get down to about a $10,000 car. You just need something reliable that's not sexy and get rid of your car notes. And then let's begin to attack these debts like you hear me talking about every day. You can do this. You can do this. The fact that you're asking the question means you're ready to go. It means you're ready to do what it takes to get there. So you hang on. We'll also send you a Total Money Makeover book, and show you exactly what to do to walk through those baby steps, dude. You can do this. It sounds like you're ready now. Before you were just starting to play around the edges, but now you're ready to actually execute and get after it and do what it takes to win. So good job, man. Good job. Good show today, James and Kelly in the booth. I am Dave Ramsey, your host. We will be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there is ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
It's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free screen live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.